Hey guys, Raleigh from Not Films here, and welcome to my first part in my new series on this channel, my Praetorian Guard from The Last Jedi build. So I actually bought the 3D files from Do 3D. They're pretty well known in the 3D printing community. People that do really high quality files for sale. I'll link them down in the description down below if you really want to purchase them. This first part is going to be focusing on the arm. Mostly because this took fucking while to print, and it's just going to be me trying to finish these and showing them what modifications I'm going to be doing to them and just how I'm putting them together. Because I'm finding that there isn't really many people that are doing Praetorian Guard costumes from The Last Jedi. I've even been trying to research the 501st, which are a pretty well-known Star Wars costume community that do put up a heap of resources for literally almost every Star Wars costume you could imagine, and they're all checked to make sure that they're all like film accurate to, say, if you want to build a Force Awakens Stormtrooper, an Empire Strikes Back Stormtrooper compared to a New Hope Stormtrooper, because there's many different slight variations that they'll just happily tell you, as well as give you some other resources on where you can actually purchase some of these bits and pieces. But Praetorian Guard seems to be that one where it seems quite difficult to scratch build. There was no way I was going to scratch build this anyway. Before I put this on, I'll show you the first little actual costume piece that came in the mail last week. So these are actually female just forks, leather gloves. I just happen to have tiny-ish hands. Also, I've been told, well, I can fit my hand in this, so I guess that kind of shows. But these are the gloves I'm probably going to wear underneath this costume here. So I'm going to just put this on now. So I'm just going to put this on now, and just to show you how it looks and how it moves, and a little bit about how I put it together too, and how it's been held together temporarily. Very tight. So at the moment, how this has actually been held together is, you can probably actually see, let me see if I can get it down the barrel. So it's literally just been hot glued to a piece of that scrap jigsaw foam with that edging that actually comes with all those floor mats. It's mostly just so I can get a feel about how this actually goes together. As you can probably see, there is a heap of little arrows and numbers and bits and pieces. This is just because each piece has a specific orientation about how it fits into each other, because the opening here, for example, is a different circumference to the outer circumference. So they have a specific orientation to fit into each other so they can actually move around. So while I was printing it out, I numbered each piece and then also coloured an arrow so they can actually fit to each other. Coloured arrow to coloured arrow, and not coloured in arrow to not coloured in arrow. I'll put this on now and just show you how it moves. Okay, so I've got the arm on now, and one of the main reasons I really love this costume just because how the actual arm moved around. So I actually have a surprising amount of maneuverability in this. So for example, I can swing around, I can do this. Woo! The only range of motion I don't particularly have is actually bringing my hand to my face, which could be a bit worrying when I actually go to eat. I suppose when I actually do put the rest of the costume together, I'll just have to think of just some easy mechanics that I can be able to unhitch myself. That was one of the things I was originally worried about, was the maneuverability. But I mean, like any sort of fitted metal armor, you actually do have a surprising amount of maneuverability, more than you'd actually think. In fact, there was a man who ran an entire marathon and obstacle course and parkour course in a metal suit of armor just to prove how much maneuverability you can have. Basically, for this sort of armor, I'm just going to do the normal sort of routine that I do to clean up 3D prints. I'm going to use good old multi-purpose filler to fill in just some of the gaps, and I'll also probably sand down some of the seam lines you can see in there, as well as fill in a couple of the gaps that are there. As well as that, I'll probably just use my spray primer filler just to finish it and give it a nice sandy glossy finish. That's another thing I'm also going to have to try and workshop as well, because this constantly moves and it's hitting into each other. I do want to go for a glossy sort of finish of this. It's probably going to be one of the first projects in a good while where I'm going to try and actually make a sort of as issued version of it. I'm not really going to try and weather it particularly. With all the parts hitting each other, it's going to be quite difficult to actually keep it in that glossy state, because the paint will probably rub off each other, so I'm going to have to find some sort of really good sealer, I guess. But anyway, I suppose I better get to disassembling this, as well as I'll show you how I'm actually going to attach all of these pieces without using the piece of scrap foam. Oh, I forgot to mention an extra part that I'm probably going to have to modify with this arm here is underneath the final arm plate here. I'm probably going to have to cut out a good chunk of this here, just because it has to sit up right underneath my armpit, and it is a little bit uncomfortable, and there's no way I'm going to be able to get it to sit there comfortably and being able to maneuver properly. So my plan of attack of actually attaching each piece properly without the dodge foam that I have on the inside, I've got 2 meter lengths of elastic that I'm actually just going to run down each triangular side of it, and hopefully that'll hold it nice in place, and with the elastic it'll be able to stretch around and again give me that maneuverability that I love to say in this video apparently. So let's disassemble this and get into separating.
So here what I'm actually doing is I'm actually just grinding away some of the seams very carefully on the grinder. I have to be careful when doing this because if I do hold it for too long, it actually just melts the plastic and then just makes my life a whole lot harder by having to sand away a lot of extra chunks of plastic. After the grinder, I then just moved on to the orbital sander with a really high grit. I think I actually used 60 grit the entire time. Well, actually, mostly just trying to get a as flush of a finish as I possibly can. After that, just moved on to the good old filling part, and you know the rest.
The melody was formed by varying the repetition rate.
here's the left arm of the Praetorian Guard finished. I probably have to do a little bit more polishing to it, but I mean, from cameras like this, you're not really going to notice. It's more just going to be me. There was a lot of dust on my desk, so it's a little bit dusty, but a polish will do that fine. Looking at it now with the way I've rigged it, and looking at the one reference material that I managed to find online about a Praetorian Guard, I'm going to have to add a couple of spaces on the shoulders up here and figure out a more sustainable way to hold them up there, as well as hold my arm up. I imagine once I have the full armor, I'm going to redo all the rigging basically, mostly to hold like the arms up and stuff like that. But I mean, it turned out so well. I mean, look at that gloss, just like that. Still got a lot of maneuverability. I've got elastic on the inside now, so I'm not restricted by the foam anymore. But yeah, that pretty much sort of concludes the first part in my Praetorian Guard series. If you did enjoy this, please give it a like. If you disliked it, give it a dislike. I don't know why the hell you would though. Please subscribe to continue with my progress of this build, as well as check out a couple of my other series, like the Modern Smith, where I do, surprise, more 3D printing. Thank you guys so much for watching.